a traveling spirit, I've seen many shores, from the West Pacific to the island of Kenya. They treat me like a son anywhere I go, and even though no one can tell, I still feel that I'm alone. I'm alone.
It is Sunday the 7th of September and we've started our big adventure. So our first night is a free park up, which we found on Search for Sites, and I think was also a recommendation from Touring with Kids, who are travelling with their kids in a converted lorry. So the site is on Walney Island, which is next to Barrow-in-Furness in Cumbria.
And we're right by the sea? Is it the sea? Is it estuary?
It's pretty much the sea.
It's the sea.
It is the sea. It's a bit cloudy tonight. On a clear day you can see across the Isle of Man, Ireland and the south of Scotland. But I don't think we'll have much chance of that today.
But at least it's stopped raining for a minute so we can get outside. Not complaining about the rain though.
We're going to do a run up the Cumbrian coast and we'll take you with us.
We are at Walney Island Nature Reserve. In the distance you can see Peel Island. Peel Island is a very strange place. There's a castle and a pub. The landlord of the pub is the King of Peel Island. If you look online you'll see loads of pictures of his coronation, which seems to involve him having beer poured over his head. You can get to Peel Island by ferry at some times of the year, or you can walk across, but if you are going to walk across you do need a guide, because for the first time in your life you will be at danger of sinking sands. The original name for Peel Island, the Viking name, was Foodray, meaning a place to feed your animals. I suppose that's where we get our word fodder. I'm just going to walk up here because we might be able to see seals. Obviously this is us, so we probably won't. It's about high tide now, and apparently that's when you see them. So this is the oyster farm.
Where they grow oysters.
Really?
Yeah.
Who'd have guessed?
You pull a muscle trying to open an oyster.
And on that note,
the lagoons were created since 1870 through the quarrying of sand and gravel. It's created 11 lagoons, with seawater percolating through the shingle and coming in via a sluice. Since the 1970s, the lagoons have been used by an oyster farm for rearing Portuguese oysters, which are then sold on to oyster farmers, predominantly in Britain and Ireland.
just ahead you can see the old salt works. The salt deposits were discovered under Walney in the 1890s, and the salt work was set up here with 14 evaporation pans and 6 chimneys. There was even plans for a small village with 40 houses and shops, but only a few houses were ever built. The plant closed in 1909 due to competition from Cheshire.
Good morning to you from Whitehaven in Cumbria. We had a bit of a tale of two parts for last night's park up. The first one that we went to was absolutely extraordinary, but the access road was horrendous.
Take the next right onto Nethertown Road, then turn left. Turn left towards Nethertown Road. In 300 yards, your destination will be on the right.
Just sincerely hope that we're right. We're right. Do we think we're right? Do we think we're right? Do we think we'll check before we go any further?
Yeah, I do.
And round the corner.
I'm around the corner.
That's a bit scary, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Your destination is on the right.
Better not be fucking full. Jesus.
This does not feel right.
Here it is.
It is.
Down here at the end.
Good Lord. I'm going to bring a big thing down here.
No, definitely not. Not ever, not never, not ever. My God. Just imagine it.
I know. It does say not to do big things.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is a nice spot.
You have arrived.
Thank you.
That was fucking frightening.
That was terrifying.
That was scary, that was.
Yeah.
I didn't like that very much.
No.
I just have to say. Just for the record.
I do not disagree with you, my darling.
The access road was horrendous, and I kind of wimped out and decided that we'd spend all night worrying about whether we could get out or not. In the end, we decided to let sense and sensibility reign, and we moved on. We are parked at Hague Colliery, just outside Whitehaven. There used to be a museum and visitor centre here, but it seems to have closed. But the park up is free. It's a car park, no facilities, no services, although there is a bin, and it's a stunning place. We're going to go and visit the Rum Museum, which is just over here. We start our visit to the rum story in the Jefferson family's office. Just imagining all of those people over centuries coming in and ordering their rum for their trips across the sea. Let's go and find out a little bit more about how rum is made. The rum is made of cane sugar. The cane sugar came from Antigua. In 1674, Sir Christopher Codrington cleared the island for cultivation with 160 plantations, which became in effect a huge sugar factory. The cane sugar would have been processed in Antigua by slaves, ready for shipping. These are just some of the cellars where the stock would have been held. Very dark and damp.
I think if we get this slowed down, that could be us done for the day, Johnny.
Aye, it would be nice to get hold of a wee level what's inside one of these barrels for the change.
Jefferson's rum, made in Antigua, transported on ships for distribution here in Whitehaven. Product of enslaved people. Nothing can justify the enslavement of people for economic gain. This huge barrel could hold 7,819 litres of rum, with a value today of over $250,000 GBP. The Jefferson family started their commercial lives as traders and mariners, importing tobacco. Of course, the industry of rum was not without its supporters, and the Royal Navy was definitely one of the greatest users of rum. What happened on board was that beer tended to go sour, and so a spirit such as rum didn't go sour. It started off with a ration of a gallon a day. It wasn't until the mid-1600s that they changed that ration to around about half a pint, served in 2 tots. Around 1850, the Grog Committee fixed the daily measure at half a gill. So half a gill is about 1/8 of a pint. Still quite a lot. I'm surprised they ever got anything done. The Rum Story in Whitehaven. Definitely worth a visit. Very interesting exhibition and museum. Overall opinion of Whitehaven. Actually, it's interesting. This is the marina, so we're just walking down to the marina now. The Rum Story was very interesting, and such lovely people in there. Really chatty. It was quite hard to get away. There is another museum called the Beacon Museum, which talks a lot about social history of the area and the coal mining and the maritime connections. Although unfortunately we haven't got time. Car parking in Whitehaven is a problem. They're doing a lot of works in and around, but it was very difficult to find somewhere to park. And then obviously you have to decide how much time you're going to take, and we spent probably a little bit longer than we should have done in the Rum Story. But unfortunately that means that we haven't got enough time now to go to another museum. But I would definitely say that Whitehaven is an interesting place and worth a stop if you're passing. Well, that was an incredibly interesting visit to Whitehaven. Come a little way up the coast for tonight's park up. At the end of Maryport Quay. Looks like Maryport Marina also has a motorhome stopover that's paid, and this one is free. People keep on complaining about there being no park-ups in England. There are quite a few, but I think you have to be brave. You actually have to seek them out. But isn't this just a gorgeous view? As long as it's not too windy tonight, it'll be just fine. Spent an incredibly quiet night listening to the sea, parked here just outside Maryport. We'll walk into the town, then we'll tell you a little bit about Maryport. I think when it comes to what can we thank the Romans for, we have to thank them for Maryport. As Maryport's history spans from a Roman fort to a bustling Georgian port, prospered in the coal trade before declining in the 20th century after decades of stagnation. The town is undergoing a bit of a renaissance, focused towards tourism. If you don't like the idea of parking for free, there is a motorhome air at Maryport Marina. Looks like it has showers and toilets, and there's a marina cafe as well, but I don't know that for a fact because we didn't look at it. It was around AD 122 that the Romans established a fort called Aluna as a command and supply base for the western end of Hadrian's Wall. It was built to defend against attacks across the Solway Firth, containing a large civilian settlement or vicus outside its walls. The fort and surrounding area diminished in importance following the Roman withdrawal from Britain. A Motte and Bailey castle was constructed on Castle Hill in the 12th century, followed by a 14th century peel tower, but these also fell into ruin. By the 17th century, a small fishing port called Ellenfoot existed at the mouth of the River Ellen. Sculpture, commissioned by Allendale Borough Council, was erected in 2018 as a celebration to the past and history of Maryport. It was in 1749 that local landowner Humphrey Senhouse developed a new town and port. He renamed the settlement Maryport after his wife, Mary Fleming. Senhouse laid out a planned grid of streets with elegant Georgian architecture. Maryport flourished by exporting coal from nearby collieries. You could imagine it, couldn't you? 200 ships coming in here, being loaded with coal every day. Shipbuilding was also a major industry, with over 280 ships built in the town's yards between 1765 and 1914. Maryport was also the birthplace of Thomas Henry Ismay, the founder of the White Star Line. You might want to look at our Ireland video for our visit to Titanic. Maryport's fortunes began to reverse in the early 20th century. The 1926 general strike damaged the port's trade, and the opening of a new deep water dock in Workington in 1927 diverted a crucial part of its traffic. The docks were closed to cargo ships in the 1960s. Other notable people from Maryport, Fletcher Christian, who led the mutiny on the Bounty, was born in Maryport. Dear Mr. Bennett, so you've gone to Maryport. I'm very glad. You've gone to a wonderful place. And there's quite an interesting trail of postcards and sketches that have been done by Lowry around the town. If you're on foot, it's worth noting that the Romans tend to build their forts at the top of the hill, and it's about a 15-minute walk out of the town centre to the Roman fort. Of course, one of the hidden benefits is that as part of the Hadrian's Wall development, this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There goes another one.
Maryport was known to the Romans as Alauna. In the 2nd century AD, Emperor Hadrian ordered a large fort to be built on the top of these cliffs, taking advantage of the strategic position overlooking the Irish Sea and the Solway Firth. The fort covered about 6.5 acres and housed up to 1,000 soldiers. It was the command headquarters and supply base for a chain of fortlets and watchtowers that extended the Roman frontier along the Solway coast from the west end of Hadrian's Wall. Alauna Roman Fort was a huge Roman fort dating from the early conquest around 60 AD and existing for some 200 years afterwards. There is evidence that Maryport was a huge trading site with imported goods from all over the Roman Empire. The same goes for their families and soldiers that lived at the camp, soldiers from not only from Italy but from all over the empire, such as Spain and Croatia and the Netherlands, for example. Such a long-term settlement also means there were many burials and altar stones. There is the largest collection of carved Roman altar stones that have been founded at Maryport, many of these being excavated from foundation pits for later buildings. This stone says to Jupiter, the best and greatest, and to the divine spirit of the emperor. Marcus Mennaeus Agrippa, tribune, set this up. Now, interestingly and really fascinatingly, is that they've managed to trace Marcus Mennaeus Agrippa back to the village that he came from in Italy. And he was the commander of the first cohort of Spaniards and a friend of the Emperor Hadrian. This one says, Paulus Postumius Asilanius, commanding the first cohort of Dalmatians at Maryport, AD 138 to AD 160. If you go to the Roman Museum, watch the videos that seem to be at the end first. It won't make sense until you've watched the videos.
To imagine that Roman settlement was there for 200 years, it's really quite difficult to get your head round. 200 years, so 2.5 generations.
You can see just how hilly Maryport is. It's the afternoon, isn't it? So we've arrived in Maryport town centre, but it's Wednesday afternoon. Traditional early day closing.
Good evening.
Hello from a very blustery Maryport.
It really is tonight.
The van is definitely rocking.
So, we had a really good day today. We actually remembered to stop, so we stopped just outside Maryport, and we went for a walk. How far did what did we manage to do?
About 3.5 miles.
Which might not seem a lot to those of you who walk a lot.
But it was all uphill, and we don't walk a lot normally.
No. So Maryport's really interesting, as hopefully the video has already shown you. The museum, the Roman Museum, absolutely incredible. The things that you don't know. I mean, we used to live not very far from here, a little village called Holton-le-Gate, which is on the border of Northumbria and Cumbria. And we never came. We never visited this piece of coastline, which is ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Imagine when those people rocked up here into the cold, wet, windy northwest and built a fort and then established a town. That those families were going to be here for 200 years. It's extraordinary. Puts history into context.
Yes.
But also, it's one of the oldest Roman forts. So it was established before Hadrian built his wall, because it was established to enable Hadrian to build his wall.
Not long after the initial invasion.
So they sort of hightailed it up here. Extraordinary.
Yeah.
It was really good,
Yeah.
really interesting
Really
place.
very good, very
Definitely
interesting.
recommend it.
But bear in mind that Maryport is built on a hill. It is really hilly, and you walk up the hill and you walk back down the hill and you walk up the hill. Yeah,
Indeed. It's really good.
really interesting though.
So our plan from now, well, it's all a bit kind of loose, so keep on watching and you'll find out.
We have got a bit ahead of ourselves.
Well, yeah. Ish. See you later.
Bye.
So we've come a little way down the road from Maryport. Maryport to Carlisle is 26 miles. We've come to Bowness on Solway, which is just here. It's an RSPB nature reserve. Where we were actually going, the road was closed, and it's a little park up on search for sites near Bowness and Solway, but we can't get there. So it's interesting to think that between Maryport and Bowness on Solway is where Hadrian's Wall starts, but there's a sequence of fortlets every mile from Maryport to Bowness. Hard to imagine what it would have been like, because obviously there weren't any roads except for those that they built. Very beautiful place though. So we've left Cumbria and we've come up the M6 a little way from Carlisle and driven across to pick up the A7, and we're on a campsite called Bush of Ewes. Ewes as in female sheeps is not ewes. And it's not very far from Langholm. Nice campsite, £15 for the night. We needed water. It's all on grass, which looks a little damp. We'll find that out in the morning. There's a kiddies play area and loads of pitches, toilets and showers. All looks very clean, very pleasant and very quiet.
I'm a traveling spirit, I've seen many shores, from the West Pacific to the island of Canyo. They treat me like a son anywhere I go, and even though no one can tell, I still feel that I'm